Get after for 6, 8 seconds. Guys, this is what we had to get. This ain't the one we want. You got that ball.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of the Laurel Leader Call Sports Show. I'm your host, Jack Fairchilds. I'm going to shoot a rubber band at Guru now. And that's Guru Nichols over there. And this is Kevan Lindsey. So we're going to introduce
Kevan Lindsey.
Before we get started, y'all stop laughing. We're going to cover sad news first. So y'all stop laughing. Get somber. Goodness. We'd like to have fun here, of course. But right before we were getting ready to come on, the news broke that legendary college football coach Lou Holtz passed away at the age of 89. Lou Holtz, of course, probably most famously known as a former coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, led them to a national championship in 1988. He had a 249 wins, 132 losses, and 7 ties over his head coaching career with 6 schools. He coached at William & Mary, NC State, Arkansas, Minnesota, Notre Dame, and South Carolina. He also coached the NFL's New York Jets for the 1976 season, in which he finished 3-10, but it's the Jets. I mean, it's expected you're not going to do well with the Jets. So, again, a sad day. I think no matter how you felt about Notre Dame, I think Lou Holtz was one of those personalities that if you were a fan of college athletics, you became a fan of his, especially after he got in a little bit more into the broadcasting side. Real quick, Kevin, any thoughts, memories you have of Coach Holtz?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't remember Holtz as a coach. I remember him as a broadcaster. That's what I remember him as. I keep going back to it. I don't know why it's popped in my head, but you guys remember we come on at night where they would do the judge and jury section. Yep. That's what I remember seeing Lou Holtz on. Obviously for his faith too, but reminded me of a character kind of like a Mike Leach, the kind of character. Coach, or even a Steve Spurrier. Spurrier had a lot of character to him.
He was probably closer. I think Leach was one of one when it came to probably a little bit more on that Spurrier side. But I mean, he was, most famously right before the famous Catholics versus Convicts game, he said he wanted to go fight Jimmy Johnson in the parking lot. And I think that, of course, he said afterwards, no, I didn't really want to fight him. Goo, I know you're closer to my age, so you have probably much stronger memories of Holtz as a coach.
Yeah, you think of that time frame, kind of a pantheon of head coaches with Coach Holtz, Bobby Bowden, Joe Paterno, all legendary head coaches in their time spent at their respective universities. And Coach Holtz, in a way, himself was, like you said about Mike Leach, he kind of was a 1-for-1. He did things his way, and whether people liked it or not, he really didn't care. Yeah. And, he's one of those coaches that in the modern era won a national championship. And, that's not saying nothing because, how many coaches have we seen in our lifetime that had great seasons, maybe even played for a title, but never won it, and at the end of the day, he'll always be well remembered for his time spent exclusively at Notre Dame. But in the back end of his career, the time he did spend at South Carolina is something that as SEC fans, we kind of, remember a little bit more. But overall, he'll be, he's there with Ara Parseghian and Knute Rockne and, just like you said, a legendary head coach, and it's a sad day for not only the Notre Dame fan base, but college football as well.
Absolutely. And he should have 2 national championships because they kind of robbed him. It was 93 when he got robbed. Florida beat Florida State in the regular season, lost late in the season, and somehow Florida State jumped over them. So
back when we depended on humans.
Yeah. So it was a crazy thing. So, again, I want to say it was just a couple of years ago. He was actually in Jones County speaking at a church. So again, like I said, sad time, thoughts and prayers to the Holtz family. You will be missed, Coach. And as such, there's no smooth transition away from anything like that, but the best thing to do is just go ahead and jump right into it. And of course, we've had some basketball action since our last show. We've seen two of our teams get bounced. We've got one county area school still standing. So we'll start with some recaps of action, and we'll start with you first, Kev, because you were at the South Jones boys game against Wayne County before it got to the big house. So kind of walk us through what happened in that game.
Yeah, they were at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. Me and Guru were there. Guru was there at the start with Laurel. I came up later. That was the nightcap. South Jones boys played Wayne County. Unfortunately, South Jones didn't come up on the good end of this one. They fall one game short of the big house. They fall to Wayne County 62-54. This was a game, I kind of talked about it in my post-game recap. This was a game that it really came down to two periods that defined this game for South Jones. And it was the first quarter of play. Wayne County jumped out to a big lead. I think they led 18-5 after the first quarter. Guru's going to get on to me if I call it period again. They jumped out to 18-5 lead. But South Jones followed their way back, and they actually took a halftime lead, 26-24.
Surprised he didn't say intermission.
Yeah, intermission. They took a 26-24 lead.
Don't give them ideas, good.
And they led by as much as 13 points in the third quarter of that game. And then, unfortunately, and we can talk all day about sore losers or anything whenever somebody falls down to injury, but it's just the truth. This game changed whenever junior Tristan Hawthorne went out of the game. He was blocking everybody in the paint. Wayne County was having trouble getting inside. Honestly, from mid-range inside, Wayne County was struggling. And that's how South Jones got back into this game, and it's off the hands and off the long arms of Tristan. But unfortunately, he went down late in the third quarter. I'm not sure about what minute it was. I just saw him kind of go off. Just thinking that he just got subbed out for a little bit to give him some rest. But he later hobbled his way to the back, and they were trying to work on him. I could see from where he was at. I mean, he was extremely upset that there was obviously something wrong. In the final 9 minutes of play, Wayne County, they just found their stride. They went on a 30-9 run against South Jones and ended up winning that game in the final 9 minutes, 30-9 run. South Jones they couldn't get rebounds. They couldn't do really anything offensively. Shots kind of started not to fall, and then whenever you don't get rebounds like you were to try to get those second chance points, it just went Wayne County's way. Kudos to Wayne County, though. They've only lost one game.
I saw that.
Yeah, there's a reason why they've only lost one game. They're good and they're resilient. So, yeah, South Jones falls just one game short.
And I want to take up for Kevin, too. Kevin's a Wayne County guy, first and foremost. So pointing out an injury, in my opinion, does not equate sour grapes or anything. It's just pointing out the flow of the game. I mean, even with the injury, Wayne County still had to execute to come back the way that they did. So hats off to them. Kevin, you also were covering the girls' game. You covered two West Jones games. Unfortunately, won't get to cover a third. Just kind of tell us how they got to the big house and then what happened at the big house.
Yeah, that's the one I wasn't at.
That's right. It was while we were recording.
Right, while we were recording, they go into overtime. They come back from 5 points down, right, with a minute left. I think that's kind of where it was. I know Coach Murray mentioned that. talking to her at the big house. But they basically come back. They force overtime at Pearl River Community College. They force overtime. They win that game. They go to the big house. And then Monday morning at 9 a.m., they face Olive Branch, and they fall to Olive Branch 41-40. And honestly, I'll be honest with you guys, I thought they were going to get ran out of the gym.
It started off really poor for them.
Yeah, they were down 12-3, I think it was, after the first quarter. Went down, I think, by as much as 16 or 18-3. It was rough. Like, me and a friend of mine there, we thought they were getting run out of the gym. And they just battled back like they have all year. They start out slow, and they battled back, and then they get to the fourth quarter. They get within one. Olive Branch then snatches the momentum. They go up by 10, and then West Jones again just starts roaring back, and you get to a point to where you have a free throw attempt to tie the game. They miss one of two. They're down by one. They get the ball back with just a few seconds left, and we talked about it. I think you were watching it. I was standing there. I was filming it or going live, and there's just a few seconds left, and they kick the ball out, and it's a wide open three. And going back and watching the video and on the drive back, people wonder, well, why didn't they just go for the layup and get a closer shot? It was just a wide open three, and I don't think that you could have got a better shot. And two, with just a couple of seconds left, they took their shot. They miss. It bounces off. I think it was Miracle Russell got her hands on it, tried to tip it back in, just couldn't do it, and they fall to Olive Branch 41-40. Great resiliency again from the girls. Just the slow start finally caught up to them. Coach Murray talked about that in the post game, that it's just the slow starts, and it finally caught up to them. She was still very proud of the Lady Mustangs, and honestly, I am too. This is a team that has a lot coming back. They're going to be a threat.
They're really young.
Yeah, they're really going to be a threat. They've gone in this senior class. They went to the big house 3 out of 4 years, and it's just an accomplishment to get to the big house.
Yeah.
Like it's an accomplishment to get to South State, but for basketball in particular, getting to the Coliseum, it's like going to the Final Four. Some people hang the banner for a Final Four appearance. We'll get into the big houses like that.
And we're going to get to somebody who did get to the big house here in a second. But I do want to say something on that last second three. I mean, I understand why you would want them to shoot the ball closer, but that's not the way the game's played nowadays. I mean, really and truly, if you watch it at every level, if there's a kick out and somebody's open from three, they're not going to step it. They're going to release it from where they're at. That's just the way the game is played. Like it, love it, hate it, whatever the case. That's modern basketball. I'm not going to fault a kid for taking a wide open shot. It just was unlucky for her. Guru, you've got you've been able to take in a couple of Lady Tornado games. Kind of walk us through what you've seen, and then once you get done with how they got to the big house, kind of walk us through the preview of tomorrow morning's game.
Well, this is a team that's been on a mission all year long, led by Miss 5A basketball, Kaylee Walker. She was just dominant in the quarterfinal matchup there at Gulf Coast, scoring 25 points. I mean, she almost outscored North Pike, who finished with 26 total points as a team by herself. And, looking at the numbers on the year, Laurel's 30-2 overall. They've outscored their competition 1,972 to 435. That's a discrepancy of 61.6 points a game to 13.6. So they're averaging winning by 48 points a game. They beat North Pike by 30. They were just defensively, especially in the first half. In the second quarter, they gave up 2 points the entire 8 minutes. North Pike tried to slow it down when they did have the ball on offense, but whenever they did get across midcourt, they rarely had any open shot opportunities, because whenever the ball made its way, around the perimeter, there was always a Laurel defender, if not two, in the ball handler's face. And that's something that in the playoff games that I've watched the Lady Tornadoes play, that's something that they've done. And I mean, the numbers speak for themselves, only giving up less than 14 points a game. That's something they've been doing all year. So, the win over North Pike, that was the third time they beat them this year. Second time they beat them by 30. The other time they beat them by nearly 50. And then, that propelled them to the big house, where Kevin and I will be tomorrow morning bright and early at 9 a.m.
Get you an energy drink, buddy boys.
I will not. I will be thinking of y'all while I'm not up at 6 a.m. making the drive to Jackson.
But the Lady Tornadoes will take on the Lady Warriors of Pontotoc. This is a team that Coach Sherry Cooley for Laurel said they know fairly well, even though they're separated by over 200 miles. They've met multiple times over the past 4 or 5 years. And her exact comments was, they know who we are and we know who they are, and that she expects it to be, just a hard fought, close game. I don't know how I really feel about that close word, but
yeah,
it is the Final Four, and the Final Fours from this level all the way, to the NCAA Division I level, we've seen crazier things happen. So, you can't overlook anybody. But I'm going to tell you this, especially with Kaylee's and the other seniors on the team, they're focused. They made the trip to the big house last year as juniors, got knocked out by Canton in the semifinals after winning it the year before in 2024. So they're looking for their second state championship in 3 years, and which would be their third in 6 years, which is just pretty daggum good if you ask me.
Dynasty, right? Would you say it's a dynasty?
3 titles in a 6-year span, and I think 5 out of the 6 they made it to the big house as well. I'd call it one.
I think you have to. I mean, three championships, that's a dynasty all day.
And hopefully tomorrow morning things go well there at the big house in Jackson, and we'll get to report live from the Coliseum and let you guys know good news, hopefully.
And will you and Kevin be doing any live updates, or are y'all just going to wait till probably halftime?
I'll probably do halftime and final.
So check out the Leader Calls Facebook sports page. You can see Kevin and Guru updating you guys live from the big house and kind of give you an idea. It's a little bit harder to do quarter break updates than it is in others. So
it's frantic.
Yeah. So I mean, halftime and in the game, of course, we'll see. And maybe if something gets close, like what Kevin was able to do the other day with the West Jones game, hopefully it's not close and Laurel just goes ahead and handles business the way they have. But we'll get to what we think is going to happen in that game here in a little bit. First, let's get into a little bit of baseball recaps. We'll start with the South Jones Braves. South Jones last weekend got 10-run ruled by Madison Ridgeland Academy, but then they bounced back last night, winning its first district game of the year, 12-0 over Natchez. Again, this is a South Jones team that we talked about last week. They're still trying to figure out who they are. They lost a lot, pretty much the majority of their starters from last year's team that made the run to Pearl. So they're still trying to find out who they are. It has to be nice to have your first district game be against Natchez, who's somebody you can put up 12 runs on. Shout out to Walker Johnson. We talk a lot about his little brother Beckett, but Walker pitched outstanding yesterday, and he's been really good as a starter for the Braves so far this year. So shout out to him. But I mean, it's still one of those guys where it's still early in the year, so it's kind of, you're still trying to figure out who these teams are. Madison Ridgeland Academy is a beast, and we know that. It was a close game last year that the Braves won, and this year, unfortunately, they just weren't up to the task this go around. But I do think getting that first district win is definitely huge for them. Then we'll travel out there to Northeast Jones, to the Jungle. They beat Stringer 8-3, but then they turned around and lost to Mize 8-7 in 8 innings. Again, I think this is another one of those teams that I think they're going to be all right, but they are playing against they're still trying to figure themselves out as well. I think they have had a little bit more coming back, but when you lose your all-time career hits leader and you lose a couple of pitchers, you still are in a growing pain stage. I think Coach McKeever will get it figured out. I am not worried about Northeast Jones at this point in time. I think they're going to be fine. And then we'll go out there to West Jones, who, again, we talked about last week, guys. They started out the season 0-6, and now they've won 4 straight since we last talked about that 0-6. They've beaten Poplarville 7-4, beat Columbia 5-2, and then swept Jim Hill, which Kevin was at 19-0 and 25-0. So not much to talk about in those 2 games. But again, and before we get to the last one I have down, guys, we talked about it last week, and West Jones has proved it. It's hard to even really take anything too seriously in these early games, especially before district starts. Kevin, what's your take on where these 3 teams stand right now?
Kind of what I said last week. I'm expected from pretty much all of them. The West Jones one, I'll focus on it since I did see a little bit of them play last night. I don't know why Max Prep says them 25-0. They did win that game 24-0.
It was 24-0. Okay.
Yeah, 24-0. I just checked it on Game Changer to make sure I wasn't blind. Yeah, with West, I think it was, like I said, just getting in this district play and doing all of that. And, you win 4 straight, now you got a little bit of momentum going. And really, it's just about getting to spring break and then getting into that meat of that schedule. I think I'll just keep this short. It's for all 3 of them. It's get to spring break, get in the meat of your district, all of that stuff, and then really lock in and focus on what you got to do down the stretch. We joke a little bit with Jim Hill just getting swept like that. I want to say this. I thought it was really cool last night. Jim Hill was getting blasted, and I wasn't there 15 minutes, y'all. But a kid just smacked one, man, and it hits the right field. And when he got it, kid from Jim Hill, he smacks it to right field, and it barely goes foul. And the West Jones kids and the parents applauded him. And
that's cool.
When there are kids and you are not a baseball school and there are kids that are trying, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. I just want to commend them for that. That's really cool moment. It's still both games ended in 3 innings, and it was a blowout. But, yeah, like I said, West Jones starts off 2-0 in district. South Jones, they get a district win. Northeast is going to be doing probably the same thing. They're going to be fine.
Yeah. Good, or anything you want to add?
No, I'm going to go ahead and take this next one.
Go ahead.
Laurel baseball, which is near and dear to my heart, playing there for 4 years from 92 to 95. Started this season with a couple of wins over Heidelberg, forfeited 2 games to Sacred Heart. We really are not privy to why that occurred. Then, and just what must have been a wild one to be at, they lost 22-21 to Collins, where Laurel actually scored 8 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning to get within 1. But then, you see the disparity once they played a district game against North Pike and get beat 15-0. And, we're a little bit more knowledgeable than a lot of people out there into the inner dwellings of the current state of Laurel baseball. But I want to tie it back into Jim Hill. And there's a lot of schools like that. With Jim Hill and your Jackson Public Schools, their primary focus is basketball and basketball only. Maybe some of them excel in track and field, but basketball is king in JPS, and that's it. Everything else, even football. There's been a couple of schools here lately on the 5 and 6A level that have had some decent teams, But for the most part, unlike here where football is far and beyond the top of the mountain in high school sports, up there it's not. And baseball for schools like that, and also for a school like Laurel. Now, Laurel's still a very predominantly football is king school. Basketball has for the latter part of the last 10, 12, 13 years, and it's flopped. It was boys in the mid 20 teens, and now since Cooley's taking the helm with the girls, now the girls basketball team is done, but they're always right there with football with their basketball. But baseball for the Jackson Public Schools, for a lot of your Mississippi River and Delta schools, and Laurel, like I said, it's we were told that at Laurel they were having a problem even getting us a roster because somebody very close to the program told us the coach there doesn't know who's going to show up on any particular day. He may have 4 or 5 kids there one day. He may have 10 or 11 there one day. And I remember back in my first stint when I was here at the Leader Call, and they had brought in a former coach, J.D. Holloman, who, when I was playing, actually coached sometime at Northeast Jones. And, he was trying to change things. And the first time I met him, I sat down in the coach's office with him, and we were talking, and he was like, man, you just wouldn't believe what it's like. He was like, I have kids that come out here that not only don't have a glove, let alone a bat, but don't even have cleats, and they're still dealing with that. And I'm sure it's the same way at the Jackson Public Schools. When I went out to do my preview for girls softball, there was even one young lady there that day that had told the coach, she hadn't had time to get her glove yet. She was going to get a glove, but for her to take infield, her and another person were having to share a glove. And I mean, unfortunately, that's the way that it's become at Laurel. Now, I do have some inside info that coming down the pike, maybe in the near future, that a local person in the recreation community who's very high up in that is going to try to, to step in some facet and try to help elevate the baseball program at Laurel. I played actually with his son for 2 years at Laurel, and he feels like I do, that, it's sad because up until the early 2010s, Laurel was still a team that was a playoff team every year when Jordan Rogers and Ian Sharp were at Laurel High. Yeah. And after they left, it started dwindling, and it just slowly got worse and got worse. And it continues to get worse. And until somebody comes along that has the time, has the support of the administration to try to bring back what Laurel baseball once was, I'm almost scared to say that it may never happen.
And that's fair. And look, for anybody questioning why we put Laurel on the rundown list, it's not to make fun of the kids. For one, the fact that they're out there competing, I think, should be commended. But we want to make sure that folks know what's happening with them as well. And then you can kind of maybe even understand why on given weeks we may gloss over them. You brought up the softball team. So when we get to our softball recaps, let's go ahead, Guru, and skip to that. I know you've seen that they've started off 3-3. They've had a couple of blowout losses, but 3-3 for what you saw when you were putting together that preview, that's gotta be awesome, because I don't know that there was much expectation based on what you saw earlier this year.
Now, I will say what I did see earlier this year was much like I just spoke about with the baseball team. On that particular day, it was very watered down for who was at practice. Their key players were either, they have several that are in the band, and there's some strict rules at Laurel High apparently regarding missing band practice for other activities where it could get you booted from the band, from what I was told, which is
silly.
I'm just going to leave it at that. others at track practice and or basketball.
Yeah.
I think they have a roster of 20 girls, and I want to say there were 10 there that day.
Mm-hmm.
And, all of them, with the exception, I think, of one or maybe two, were 7th, 8th, or 9th graders.
Wow.
And to see them, and speaking with Coach Charles Lee that day, he told me that, it was going to be like that at that practice because he was limited on having those other girls be there. But to see, what he said has come to fruition to a degree. To see him at 3-3 early in the season, I think that's a very positive sign. It shows that he's starting to slowly make a change in that program. This is year 2 for him. And, it's going to get tough for them when they get to district play because the thing that he told me, and one of the girls he has, I'm not going to attempt to name her because I forgot her name, to be honest. But he sees her as a potential, at least a JUCO prospect after this year. Mm-hmm. Should be their leader on the mound, should be their leading hitter. He says she can hit for on-base percentage, hit for power. And coaches don't tell you that just to tell you that because, if any of us were coaches, we're not going to pump somebody up and then they were 200 hitter and can't even hit it past the warning track. But his girls, he told me, that are in 9th grade and younger, he has so many of them out there because they've grown up playing softball at the Elvin-Ulmer 8-plex. And they've been, on teams out there. And that's something that's, he said you're going to see over the next couple of years that the program is going to continue to grow because they have a lot of young girls playing in the program out there, whereas a lot of his upperclassmen didn't have that opportunity because the 8-plex wasn't there when they were that age. But, right now for them, it is what it is. It's good to see them at 500. That the district they play in is going to be tough, but with a couple of breaks here or there, it's not a far cry to have a shot at sneaking in as a 4 seed. With games against Natchez.
Natchez is winnable.
Natchez is winnable. Who else we got? South Jones. That one's going to be tough.
North Pike's probably going to be tough.
North Pike will probably be tough. That leaves us.
Who is the
Natchez, Summerall. Summerall
that
tough.
was the other one. Yeah.
And we're missing one. Brookhaven.
Brookhaven.
So I guess you could say, I don't know what Brookhaven softball is like. I wouldn't. It's probably similar to a North Pike, maybe. But, it's not undoable.
No. It's not, and I'm going to kind of jump around in the softball, not in the order, because I think it's fitting to go from Laurel to West Jones, who we talked about last year. Circumstances outside of the control of any of the players on that team, really down year this year. They're below 500 right now, but they're at 5-9. I think they're already better than what we saw last year. They're on a 2-game losing streak, but again, I think this is a team that is going to surprise people. I think they're going to be much improved as the season progresses. So I think the Lady Mustangs sitting at 5-9, maybe they make the squeak in as a 4 or maybe even possibly a 3 seed. But anything that they can accomplish outside of what happened last year, I think is going to be really great for these girls. I think the program's on the right direction, regardless of what the final record is this season. Then, of course, we go to South Jones. And, Kevin, you and I have talked about how impressed we were out there. Well, they're currently sitting at 5-4 and riding a 3-game losing streak. But I think that once they get into their region play, because they've not been playing cupcakes. They've been playing some heavy hitters. So I think that record and that losing streak are very deceptive. This is a really good Lady Braves team. I think you'll see a lot of improvement out of them as it goes on. And then, of course, Northeast Jones, they're still rolling. They're 10-2. They did lose to West Harrison eventually I'm going to say that right, to West Harrison, 6-5, but they did take their first district game of the year, 10-0 over Wayne County. So again, I think that this Northeast Jones team is really, really solid. I think they're stacked. I think they're the class right now of our softball teams, with South Jones potentially bumping up to that. West Jones, I think, is going to make some strides this year. And again, what Guru already said, talking about Laurel, I think if we see a Laurel team, I think this is a team that anything that they get above what they had last year is going to be a huge positive for sure.
I just want to throw one thing in there about Northeast, not knocking that 10-2 start and with that district win over Wayne County. Things are going to get a little bit bumpy as they progress through district play with East Central, Stone, and Van Cleve. So if they're able to come out as a 2 seed in that district, that's a team you better be watching out for, because that district, both not just softball but baseball as well. Getting a 2 or 3, getting a 3 would be great. A 2 would be awesome for either one of those programs. And if either one is able to do that, they should be setting themselves up for a good run when we get to postseason play.
And a 1 seed means you're special.
Absolutely, especially in either baseball or softball with those 3 coastal area teams that have always been strong in both of those sports.
Yeah, in baseball you got Summerall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Summerall.
Summerall
is Purvis or Summerall?
It's Purvis.
Either way,
Summerall's over in Laurel and South.
Yeah. If it's you got Purvis though, my goodness.
Yeah. It's a tough reach. Kevin, anything you want to add on the softball before we move on?
Yeah, just encouraging for Northeast, for Laurel. I actually had a parent send me a home run video last night from one of the girls, North Pike. She said got their lick back from basketball.
Mm-hmm.
They defeated Laurel, but it's cool to see whenever a girl hits a home run in that program, the excitement. That's what I saw. I think even bigger than the home run was the excitement from the girls there after she hit the home run. Like you said, Northeast Jones, they're going to run into a tough schedule, but can't ignore the hot start. Also, man, Wayne County, bro, like Wayne, I don't know how much you know about Wayne County softball, Jack. Guru, you might know.
Nothing.
Wayne County softball used to be feared. They used to be feared whenever it came to softball. We're talking about constantly in South State and state championship stuff, and then just to get 10-0'd, that's just crazy to me. I'd like to know what's going on there. West Jones, getting 5 wins so far is great. I don't even care about the 9 losses. It's the 5 wins. Lane Jordan is getting those turned around, getting those girls turned around, and getting that program on the right track. South Jones, I'm not worried about the 3-game losing streak. They played Daphne, Alabama, and a couple of other teams.
I think one of them was Petal.
Yeah, Petal. I mean, Petal's a constant state championship contender there, so they'll be fine moving forward. So, yeah, softball's in a good spot for us all.
And Neshoba Central, who's also a power in North softball,
Yep.
even though the South even put up 10 runs in the game in the losing effort.
It happens, sadly. Now let's talk about something positive for a couple of our local area kids, because yesterday, number 10 Southern Mississippi, right down the road in Hattiesburg, they took down number 4 Mississippi State in a game that was started and ended by Jones County kids. South Jones, Dylan Causey, freshman, he was part of that team last year, made that deep run, and West Jones's Camden Clark came in to get the save after Causey made the start. Super cool. I mean, it was a hyper close game, like what you'd expect when you got 2 juggernauts, going against each other. I don't know that this clearly says who is truly the better team, but last night the better team was clearly Southern Miss, just with a 1-run difference. Of course, these 2 teams, man, I would love to see a 7-game series between them. I think that would be epic, because you could tell both programs wanted to win, and just hats off to Dylan and hats off to Camden for their amazing, Dylan's start and for Clark coming out and getting that close the way he did. All three of us were pretty poking our chest out because all three of us had gotten a chance to cover these kids. Kevin, you text me and Guru, and we had just got finished and listening to it on the radio when we got your text. So I know there was a sense of pride in you because I know you covered Dylan and I know you covered Camden as well.
Yeah, this is really cool to see. I called it too. I told Callie last night, I said, I bet you Camden's fixing to come out and close this out. And she was kind of still rooting against him. I'm like, look, Mississippi State can afford the loss. Ultimately, either one. No matter who lost this one down the road, it really, probably a little bit more important for Southern Miss schedule wise. I know they're ranked number 1 in RPI, but right now, but still probably big for them.
And they still got another shot at each other in Starkville later in the year.
Right. But Causey, I mean, from last week to this week, he gives up no runs, no hits, nothing like that. I mean, he comes in. We just know that kid's like that, man. We know he's going to rebound. And to put the performance that he did is really cool to see. And then Camden, I called it on the last, I don't know what y'all were on the broadcast, they were showing what he was throwing and stuff. And I called it. I said, you're fixing to see Camden just start tossing. And that's what he hit 94, 96 at one point.
We were listening to John Cox, so we didn't get too much inside info. Yeah.
Man, he was
a lot of nasally, like play-by-play.
Well, I can tell you at the end, he was shoving to get that last out, and it was cool to see. I mean, I told, me and Jack talked off camera. I really like what Oz is doing on his midweek because the first 4 innings he used 4 different pitchers, and every one of those pitchers were young, and I think that going down the stretch, you take a Dylan Causey, right? And we know when conference tournament time comes and when regional time comes, if you need a guy to come out there for 1 inning, he's getting that 1 inning little stretch to say you got 1 inning to prove it.
Maybe even one batter.
Right. You got that 1 inning to prove it. It's a pressure. Because I think there is a sense of pressure. Pressure's good. Yeah. Where you've got 1 inning to prove it and you've got 1 inning to get us through to the next one. I think that's going to be good down the stretch. Where, like I said, if you're on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday night at the conference tournament and it's the championship game and a Causey or a Camden or whoever it is, says, hey, finish it. Like, he's got that experience against Alabama, against the Mississippi State, against probably an Ole Miss next week to come out and say, okay, 1 inning, let's get it done. And I really like it.
And going back with Dylan, he pitched a week ago against Alabama and got hit a little bit. There were some errors that were attributed, but he had a couple of walks. And I think, to see him make the transition in a week, he goes out there, he faces 3 batters, he gets a fly out, a ground out, and then a strikeout. He faces 3 batters, sits them all down. I think that all that's going to do is boost his confidence.
Oh, yeah.
And then as far as Camden coming in and just slamming the door shut for the 7-6 win, that was either his 3rd or 4th save of the year. So I think Oz is already building something in the back end of that bullpen because the guy that threw the 7th and 8th inning, that dude, he was tough as well. And, like you said, hopefully Dylan will get the first man up on the bump against Ole Miss this coming Tuesday when they play in Hattiesburg. And if this coming Tuesday is anything like this past Tuesday, I mean, I tell you what, I even told Alyssa, we were sitting there watching it, and I was like, if we just for some reason had a different something happened when we were coming up and we just weren't diehard LSU fans and, and LSU baseball wasn't what it is. I said, I would love right now to be down there in the right field roost at that game right now and to be able to, on a midweek game. Yeah. Every week. And then on the weekend, just be a season ticket holder there because they have created something really, really special there. We could get into details about, why their stadium really isn't in any anywhere where they can do too much expanding because of the proximity of where they built it back in the day. It's another topic that we'll let Jack expound upon at some point. But I mean, I know what they say for what the ticket sales were there, but whatever that was, I think you could at least double it, if not almost triple it, for the amount of people that were in the vicinity of the ballpark or out there in the right field roost. It was a great atmosphere to watch on TV, and I know it was a great atmosphere to be at. When LSU played there several years back in the Hattiesburg Regional, I went there for I think 3 of LSU's games, and the night that they played, or the 2 nights they played Southern, I mean, it was even more electric than what that was on Tuesday night. So, you know, to see our local guys have success at that level on a top 10 ranked, nationally ranked program, it's just special.
It is. And, you know, I was at the regional this few years ago when they played Tennessee, and it looked like USM was going to be able to advance, but unfortunately Tennessee was able to get one over on them. It just seems to be the case a lot of times. But the atmosphere
didn't have an Applebee's.
Yeah, the Applebee's kind of hurt Southern Miss. You're right. But I mean, the atmosphere is second to none. They have put something together. I would love to see them figure out something, but of course, when you've got the little trail right there, and then you got that apartment complex, if they could ever purchase that apartment complex, I think they could build something over the trail. They could make that work and make it unique.
I mean, because right now, really, the only way you can, and I don't even know how they could do it, but you'd have to build upwards off of what's there for the stands. And I mean, the parking there is already horrendous. I mean,
I was talking about outfield.
No, I know. I'm just saying, but without having to purchase anything, with the current setup, that's up is the only really
and the
way to go.
Only other option is find a new location. You know, and that if the program keeps growing at the rate that it is, that's not out of the question.
LSU did it.
As much as I don't want to see it move from where it is because it's a cool spot, if you want to see your program reach another level, that may end up being what you have to do.
I mean, LSU did it. There was not a drop off of anything. It upgraded everything, and I think it made it even more of a prominent place for the top, baseball players to go to.
I don't have it on the picks just because I didn't put any college baseball down. But you brought up Ole Miss coming to Hattiesburg next week. Either of y'all care to pick who's going to win that game?
Southern. Close.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know.
I think home field's going to make the advantage.
I think it does. It all depends on, and because what you said with Oz and those freshman arms that he threw out there against State, did the same thing against Alabama. It just comes down to them. I mean, we watched what Southern Miss could do offensively, and putting up the 7 runs.
You're not going to pick Ole Miss ever, Goo. Go ahead and just say USM.
Ole Miss.
There you go.
Ole Miss comes and gets the win.
Look, I think the only reason why Guru is picking Ole Miss is he's hoping to jinx them. I think there's a strategy here.
One of the cool things, y'all mentioned the Roost. It made me think of it. You know what they do usually at the Roost, or they have been known to do before. Everybody's cooking out there and they're cooking chicken wings and stuff. I know at least a couple of years ago, it had become a tradition where the players who are in the bullpen and stuff after the game, they go up there and they eat, like they give them all kind of stuff, man. They give them pulled pork sandwiches. They give them wings, steaks. I mean, just giving the whole team stuff because it's right there. And then when the Montenegro brothers, y'all remember those 2 guys when they were there? They were heckling the Miami players in their native tongue. It was amazing. You could hear them over there just going at it because the brothers were out there and then their family was out there. It was so cool. Just a really cool experience. I know that State likes to boast that they've got the Mecca, and they do. They do. They've got the Mecca part, but there's just something cool about
that is college baseball. Yeah, the dude is college baseball.
Yeah, there's just something special about the Roost and just like that tight knit, I also know of a friend of mine who bribed a security officer with a pizza to get in. Looking at you, Jessica.
I know somebody that just went up to a security officer during a regional game and just said, "Hey, I can't buy any more tickets." They just let them walk in, so I know that happens. But anyway, folks, we're gonna move on from that, and when it comes to a wild card question this week, and I had down Kev doing a wrestling recap, but I think we're gonna bump both of those because we got started. Yeah, but you didn't get them all right, Kev.
I didn't, but Rhea Ripley won.
Don't make me mute you. Don't make me mute you. You're close. You're close to your second ever show without a mute. Don't ruin it.
Mommy's always on top.
Muted. He is muted.
Shake it off.
He just had to. He just couldn't do it.
He just couldn't shake it off.
I'll allow that because it's funny. So we're gonna skip both of those and no wild card this week. It's one that can save till next week anyway. I know Kevin's been in court all day. Goo's been after late night travels had to go to a track meet, so I know everybody's a little bit more tired. So let's just go ahead and jump right into our picks. You'll notice when you look at the picks, guys, I don't have Southern Miss basketball down as one of our picks, and that's because we don't know who they're playing yet, according to ESPN, in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. So they will not be included. USM fans, you already heard us talk really good about you guys, so don't get mad at us for leaving you out.
I don't think they're too worried about the basketball. They're in baseball mode right now.
Well, I don't think they're too worried about the basketball because if you look at their record and their attendance, it doesn't seem to be anything they care about. But let's move on. And this game I only put down because it's one of us is a fan, and it is,
it's the Iron Bowl on hardwood.
Yeah, it's Auburn at number 16, Alabama. Auburn should be better than what they are right now. I mean, they're a team that a lot of people had high expectations for. This is a team that a lot of folks thought they had that one game that I think kind of derailed everything for them. Get to Kevin, I'm sure he'll vent about that for a second. But I think Alabama at home will be too much for him. So I'm going with the Tide here.
Same, rolling with the Tide.
Next.
Got to pick it.
What they said.
There you go.
Not what he said.
I get the fact that Guru doesn't want to say it out loud, but it is what it is.
Auburn's not going to win. How about that?
That's fair. I'll allow it. Next, we've got South Carolina at Ole Miss. It's kind of, this is one of those games that doesn't mean
South Carolina sucks. Ole Miss is going to win. Next.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss is going to win.
Ole Miss.
Now you got Georgia at Mississippi State.
Dogs win.
You got to say which one, Gabe. I'm going with the ones from Georgia.
I'm going with the Dogs.
Yeah.
The Dogs. Give me the Dogs.
Of which one?
The Dogs.
Yep,
the Dogs. The Bulldogs.
Look, y'all are not picking Kelvin Smith. Y'all are going to pick a team.
I would pick Kelvin Smith. I saw him there Saturday night at MCGCC.
I saw him there Saturday at 1.
No, I'm picking.
But you know where you hadn't seen him? On this show, because he stood us up 4 times.
You know what? I'm going to pick Georgia.
Last home game for Hub in the hump. And State loses.
So we're unanimous on that one. I don't think we'll be unanimous on this one because y'all already know I'm picking the Blue Devils. Number 1 ranked Duke hosting number 17, North Carolina. This is the rivalry of college basketball. That is why it is going to be on here. It's at Cameron. Blue Devils going to take care of business this time and get revenge for losing last game.
Give me the Heels, Tar Heels. I got some breaking news for y'all too, by the way.
Break it.
No, go ahead and pick.
Tar Heels. I never pick Duke.
Yeah, same. I'm not going to pick Duke. Got some breaking news real quick, and I will get back to the picks. The Mississippi Association of Coaches have announced their North-South All-Star football head coaches, and they've also announced the Mississippi-Alabama coaches. So for Mississippi's coaches, we have some locals. We have Dan Brady from Stringer. He's going to be assistant coach for Mississippi's team. And for the North-South game, we have Mr. Daryl Carter is going to be the head coach for the South team. Malik Lofton is going to be assistant coach. He's a Wayne County guy and a Heidelberg assistant coach. We have Casey Harrington from South Jones. He's going to be an assistant. We have Drew Granger from Summerall. He was at Taylorsville. And then we have scout coach Corey Reynolds. So congratulations to those coaches. I just saw that roll across.
And do you know who the new head coach at Wayne County is going to be for football?
I do not.
I was going to mute him. I wasn't going to let him. I wasn't going to let him say it anyway, even if he did know. I'll unmute him now. But yeah, that's been a burning question that Kevin's had to. I mean, we're getting grilled on it, and we're not the ones even trying to figure it out. Kev, that's all Kev. He's been following that story, and it seems like it's a fascinating one. Check out Kevin's personal Facebook page, and you'll get all the Wayne County head coaching updates right there. Moving into more picks now. We've got baseball.
This is baseball, right?
This is baseball. We did not put softball on this week's picks because each team had like 3 games before we get to the next show. So I just decided let's stick with baseball for now. And these first game Friday night, we've got Northeast Jones at Seminary. For some reason I typed seminar, but it should be Seminary. That's going to be played on Friday night. I think the Tigers will handle business on the road. It's going to be a tough game. Seminary's not a bad team, but give me the Tigers.
Northeast Jones is going to host a seminar on how to win at baseball. They're taking the win.
I was going to use that seminar analogy as well. But that seminar is going to be given by the undefeated 10-0 Seminary as they defend home turf and get the big win in a seminar statement.
Next, we've got another Friday night game. We've got South Jones traveling to Natchez. We already saw what this game was the other night. I think it's going to be another 10-run rule game. So, yeah, give me the Braves in another blowout.
Braves win.
Braves 15-1.
15-1. Now let's skip over to Saturday where West Jones is playing. I couldn't tell because Max Preps didn't tell me where this tournament was.
Enterprise.
It is at Enterprise, so they're playing in a tournament at Enterprise. Is it really a tournament or is it just a triple header type deal like they do on some of the colleges?
It's a tournament, but it's a triple.
First, they're going to play Richton, and then they're going to play Enterprise. I really think West Jones can win both of these games. So I think give me the Mustangs to get to 500 and keep their winning streak going.
Same. They're winning both games.
Agreed.
Now we get to the county matchup on Saturday. South Jones at Northeast Jones. We've already seen these two teams face off once. Northeast Jones won. They're on the reservation. And I think they're probably going to win again in the jungle, but I don't know when Beckett's pitching, and that could change things. But I'm going to go with the Tigers.
He ain't pitching against Natchez.
No, he ain't pitching. That'd be a waste. But I think it's going to be a close, low-scoring game. I think the Tigers hold on to home field.
Gonna be the Braves.
I agree with Kevin.
Kevin, I think, kind of owed Coach Strickland that after saying that they were going to lose because of him. So,
did they lose?
Was it because of him, though?
Yes, it was. He is the head coach. He is the leader of that program. Mason falls on the sword, and they will not fall.
Sounds more like you're throwing the sword at him.
Nah.
Let's get some basketball, and we're going to go ahead and pick the boys 5A semifinals first, where you've got Columbus versus Natchez. I think Columbus wins this one over Natchez, so give me them to win. Kevin?
Columbus.
Same.
Then we've got Wayne County versus Holmes County, and I think Wayne County rides right into that state championship game.
You know, Wayne County's only lost one game all year.
Yep.
Probably should have been 2, but it didn't. They're not losing. They're going to the state championship.
Same. Now, since this will already happen before the next show, who's going to win the boys state championship in 5A?
Wayne County.
Yeah, I'm going with Wayne County.
No, not the same. I'm going with Columbus.
Here you go.
Christopher is going to take care of Wayne County.
See, Goo read my mind. Even though I didn't put it on the rundown, he knew I was going to make y'all pick the championship game anyway. So we're going to do the same thing here with the girls' game. We've got first, we'll go ahead and talk about Holmes versus Brookhaven. I think Holmes will win this one. I really don't know enough about either of them on the girls' side, but I think Holmes will take care of that one. What do you guys got?
Holmes is beating Old Brook.
I'm going to say, I don't know. I know there's a city of Brookhaven, but there's an Old Brook High School.
That's fair.
I'd pick the same, Old Brook.
And next we've got the game that these two will be at first thing in the morning at 9 a.m. Laurel Lady Tornadoes taking on Pontotoc. Before I pick and let y'all pick, I did ask our editor Sean Murphy who he had, and he has Laurel 56-38 in a victory here. I think this one's going to be an easy one for all of us to pick. I think all of us are going to pick the same way, and I believe it's going to be Laurel.
Do you?
Of course it.
Oh, what's that, boy? What's that? Yeah. It's going to be whatever score them Lady Tornadoes go and get it by. It's going to be however much they want it. 30 points, 40 points, 50 points, 60 points, whatever they want it. Laurel, I'm predicting by 30. They're traveling up there tonight. They're probably going to go to Applebee's and eat. They may go pick up some Arby's where they have the meats. Laurel wins it all, baby. I'm saying it. They're winning the championship, too. I know you were going to ask that question.
Same.
How do I top that? Do I need to take a shirt off or something?
Do it.
Wave it around your head. Go, Goo. You're the alumni.
We're
you
not
have
in
to have
North
more
Carolina.
passion.
Yeah, I got Laurel by 25 over Pontotoc, and then Laurel over whoever they play on Saturday at 6 o'clock by whatever margin is necessary. 1 to 100. We don't care. Come Saturday night at about 7:21 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Laurel Lady Golden Tornadoes will be your Class 5A state champions for 2026. L-Town to the top.
And what a story it'll be. I don't know if you haven't checked out Saturday's edition of the Leader Call, you should. Guru wrote a great, amazing story
really good piece
on Laurel's head coach and her battle with cancer. Guru, kind of talk it to before we sign off. I wanted to give you a chance to kind of talk about what it meant to you to get to sit down with her and get her to open up to you about her struggles.
Well, first off, I'd like to say, Sherry, thank you very much for opening up in that interview. I think when from the first time I found out about it and then brought it up through a email discussion with Murph and these two gentlemen, they all agreed that it was something that if she wanted to talk about, that I needed to write it. And, fortunate enough that I let my hands do the typing, let my heart do the thinking, and it just something that I was proud of. And then being told by these two and Murph, and then getting a text Saturday afternoon from our owner, Jim Sigelski, telling me how well it was written and award worthy means a lot to me. But it's not about me. It's about Coach Cooley and what she's had to persevere through personally this year. And a huge shout out to Simi Cooley, Sherry's husband, for the past 22 years, pretty much put everything that his whole life routine on hold since July of last year to be there for her in whatever means that was, whether it was taking her to every road game except for one, when she had to spend a night in ICU and miss a trip to Biloxi, which it just didn't flow into the story. But there is another piece to that when Laura went down to play Biloxi that Coach Cooley was watching the game on her iPad in ICU, and they, being Biloxi High, their team wore pink uniforms that night to show their support for her. And their coach pretty much dedicated the game, regardless of the outcome, to Coach Cooley and her battle that she was going through. And it's, she talked about not being able to stand up at practice a lot of the times, going through the chemo treatments and going through all that. And, just to see the way she spoke about her players from, when they first found out and how they were upset, but how they've just really rallied around her and been there for her, as well as her assistant coaches, the administration at Laurel High School. And, guys, sometimes there were days that she said she just would wake up and didn't want to get out of the bed. But because of those 13 girls, that was her reason to get up and go to the school, even if it was just to be there for a couple hours worth of practice. She wanted to know, those girls to know, that they meant that much to her and that they were a driving force behind her being able to battle through this. And I think for both of these guys, especially Kevin, who I know will be there with me for both games, I think it would mean a lot to us, and we know how much it would mean to the city of Laurel and Laurel High School to watch Coach Cooley get to lift the gold ball one more time. And, thank you again, Coach, for allowing me to have the opportunity to hear your story and then be able to present it to the folks of Jones County. With that said, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Laurel Leader Call Sports Show. For our host, Jack Fairchilds, producer, co-host, Kevan Lindsey, I am Josh Guru Nichols. See you next week.